In 4.2, we faced a threat unlike anything we have ever seen before. A horrifying elation, abundance, monstrosity orchestrated by Asat Pramad, all for the purpose of turning plain Arcadia into the perfect target for Lan the Hunt. But now that we have taken this abundance tree and stuffed it into Blade, we now have one question before us. What are we going to do with it? Well, according to Yao Guang, we now have to make a trip to the Torn Scroll. And in this video, I'm going to make it my mission to explain exactly why she says this and why the IPC has been hiding the truth behind the Torn Scroll this entire time. And of course, finally address the evolution of a certain Xianzhou Stellaron hunter. Because in truth, I believe that everything involved in the IPC's true motives here have been teased back in Penacony with Aventurine, and of course partially in the simulated universe. Because this is the secrets of Mortonac's Blade revealed. But first, the 4.3 live stream is soon, so I'll be reacting to it as always, and I'll be hosting the second ever Phantom Moon games in the Discord, where the winner becomes Nova. What that means, you gotta figure it out. The Discord broke last time, but we're back, and we're doing it again. 6-7 is almost gone, and the nice number is right around the corner. Do with that information what you will. On to the video. Okay. So before we dive into the unknown surrounding Blade's new form, we gotta talk about the IPC and why they are hiding the remains of a dead Aeon. Because in truth, this isn't the first time that this corporation has hoarded the remains of an Aeon. In fact, they do it to Klopoth and collect the Divine Amber and various other substances that fly out into space every time Klopoth's hammer strikes their wall that I personally think they are using to turn themselves into emanators, because using Aeon power rocks to give themselves powers just seems to be something they do. Looking at you, Diamond and the Stone Hearts. But that's besides the point. Point is, they collect fragments of Klopoth, and they are very much interested in the remains of Tazironth because Aventurine scammed the Intelligentsia Guild into believing that he knew where to find them.
Did you also think that when you lied to the Intelligentsia Guild?
Ask and you shall receive. You wanted the perfect construction material. All I did was offer a possibility. It was just a small wager. If your luck holds out, the IPC will dig something up from the golden sands of Ejihazo. Maybe even the Sand King's remains. Pity your luck has run out.
But of course, it wasn't there. So once again, the IPC is chasing after the remains of an Aeon. And you've already heard my theory as to why they are collecting Klopoth's fragments, but as for Tazzy, well, IMMA has a theory connecting the IPC to the propagation, and that they are spreading throughout the cosmos and propagating their capitalistic pursuits. A theory that looks better and better as time goes on. They are literally multiplying. If you think of the swarm and replace bugs with people, you get the IPC, even looking into the planetary devastation type of thing. And if you need more proof of this, we can look no further than the devlog, because this one line pretty much exposes what the IPC is doing here. Herta says, had Louis Fleming encountered Ouroboros the Veracity, he might have approached the Aeon with the intent to attract all wealth throughout the universe, which pretty much all but directly confirms that the IPC wants to use the abilities that the Aeons have for the purpose of expansion. This insidious faction would stop at literally nothing. Because of course we know that Ouroboros specializes in baiting in prey. They are very persuasive. And apparently they also even have a siren song type of ability that they use to track in prey as well. And of course the IPC has a use for this ability to bait and consume. Looking at you, Jade.
I come to greet, I come to wine, I come to claim. I grant poison for nectar, sow in spring to reap in fall. Await wizened fruit to fill livened boughs. All for the Amber Lord.
Jade, by the way, is literally just flexing her manipulation tactics here. To greet, wine, and dine, then claim later is a tactic businesses use to gain someone's favor so that they get good reviews and stuff like that in return. It's a strategic investment strategy. Granting poison for nectar is literally just deception, playing all that gain favor from earlier, then sowing in spring to reap in fall is just her being patient and waiting for the return on investment, then waiting for wizened fruit to fill living boughs. Wizened means shriveled. cold and dying. So that is the result of her poison from earlier. So in essence, what she is saying here is I gain your favor, poison you, profit from you, and then wait for you to shrivel and die. That is literally her incantation. Jade Defenders, where are you at? I'm not joking when I say she is literally Satan in a pimp hat. She's literally based off of that poem The Snake, where the kind-hearted innocent lady takes in the wounded snake and then she nurtures it back to health, only for the snake to bite and kill her. And then when she asks the snake, why would you kill me? The snake says, you knew I was a snake when you let me in. That's literally Jade. She's the snake. Don't let her in.
A little ball of ice in exchange for the Astral Express's good favor.
Oh god, we're screwed, aren't we? But back on topic. It's also another ability that, very similar to the propagation, allows them to spread their influence and broaden their horizons, by of course milking every world they come across dry. So, odds are, the reason why they were hiding the Torn Scroll from the world was to, one, not cause alarm to the people, because they are living on the remains of a dead Aeon Unicron style, shout out to you if you get that Transformers Prime reference, and two, to figure out what they can use it for themselves. But of course, the astral spirits down there are a problem. They spawn off of the remains of a dead Leviathan, and the Aeon's remains are most likely volatile to deal with as it is. So admittedly, they do have an ambitious plan, but since Pearl seems to have a portal to it in her office, I believe they view this as an unexplored market.
In other words, it is an unexplored market. Understanding comes first, then investment. That is the natural order.
You get the idea there. Hide everything until they can profit from it. Classic IPC. But that's gone down the tubes now because Kuchiba has exposed their secret. And quite honestly now, I kind of fear for her safety. But anyway, Yao Guang knows it as well because Evanesia just told her. Ouroboros is probably the name that's blocked out here, and Yao Guang has a plan that she believes will allow Blade to get revenge on Shuhu. And this is an entirely different issue, so stay with me here. Right now, we are dealing with a man with an emanator of abundance sealed inside of him, or at least the majority, because Ashvale ate some of Shuhu, and Blade is hanging on for dear life, trying to keep his sanity so that he doesn't turn into what Full Wish was, making him more of a pseudo-emanator than he already was. So what I think our slaughtering general is thinking is that we take Blade down to the Torn Scroll. And I'm not gonna lie here, this plan is honestly genius. Hear me out. Because what I believe the goal is here is to extract a large portion of Shuhu and allow the vestiges of whatever veracity is left down there to consume it, deleting it from existence. Because remember, Shuhu has no concept of death. But if Ashvale's shadow was able to eat the abundance power and neutralize it entirely, odds are the Torn Scroll's power can do the same. We probably can't get all of Shuhu consumed by the veracity because personally I am scared that we somehow revive Ouroboros like this. Abundance power is just weird like that. But if we can get enough of Shuhu eaten to relieve Blade of his tortured state, he'll probably still remain immortal, but mostly all of Shuhu will be gone, leading to Blade being a Nihility character because he would be the sole being sealing the resurgence of Shuhu. So he would have to live forever to hold back Shuhu forever, and his goal of dying will be never accomplished. So he is chasing death or clutching at death, but he will never achieve it because he needs to live and he also can't die, which just so happens to be the meaning of Mortinax in Latin. Mort or mortis meaning death, and tinax meaning holding fast or grasping at. So he is embracing death or clinging to death, but he will never achieve it, which is technically nihility and elation at the same time. Nihility in that his goal is pointless, and elation in that he is chasing after something he will never achieve. Just like Silverwolf and the goal of defeating Aha. She can't do it. Aha will always keep stringing her along just for the fun of it, and Blade is never dying. So, nihility. His efforts to die are all for naught. In-game Pat's theory, those who know. I'll most likely be elaborating on this further when he releases, but one question still remains. How can we get Shuhu eaten by Ouroboros' remains? Well, this is where the genius portion of Yao Guang's plan comes in, because it has been established that Shuhu has suffered for so long that he is sensitive to any and all feelings of joy. And this is where the astral spirits come in, the spirit being spawned by the death of a leviathan that crave human emotions. The same way they baited us in with the promise of joy will be the same way that leads Shuhu to their demise, or his demise. If we couldn't resist this elation bait, of course Shuhu, being extremely sensitive to all things joy, would fall for this bait without hesitation, and might just leave Blade's body himself without the need to really extract him. It is a very smart plan. So that is the general idea of how I think we will be saving Blade. But there is still one thing we need to discuss, and that is Blade's new abilities. Now, as the only remaining person in Plane Arcadia with the cells of Shuhu, that makes him a supplicant in place of Full Wish. So all that teasing of Blade being a supplicant finally came true, and his enhanced ability, for reasons, well, we have probably already seen, let's be honest here, will be to do the same thing he did in his Ying Xing days: create weaponry. Yes, as a blade forger and the former furnace master, his ability seems to be to create unlimited blade works. I'm not joking, that just seems to be what his ability is, which would make sense considering his history. As a member of the High Cloud Quintet, believe it or not, Ying Xing wasn't a fighter. He only learned to fight after Jingliu killed him over and over and over again after this edition of Imbiber Lunae. But in his heyday, he used to make weapons for his long-life species companions to fight with. In fact, he was taught by General Huaiyan himself, with one of his greatest creations being the shard sword that he currently uses. A weapon that is 5 feet long, weighing 3,000 caddies, or 4,000 pounds, or 1.8 thousand kilograms. So I think you can see this wasn't made for a normal human to wield, and it wasn't, because the shard sword was originally designed to be Jingliu's weapon due to Xianzhou natives having super strength. And that's not a joke, that's just their biology. Xianzhou natives are just built like that. And she used it to defeat Hulei and countless other opponents. So yes, Blade's skills in making blades is definitely his own talent that would be buffed further by the supplicant mask. So to sum all of this up, the IPC discovered the remains of Ouroboros long ago, most likely during the restoration process, and kept this all a secret, all so that they could use the remains for their own profit reasons due to viewing it as an unexplored market. But since Evanesio told Yao Guang about it, her goal is to have it lure out and consume Shuhu in order to save Blade. But that most likely won't get all of it out of Blade, so Blade remains alive and the only seal left holding back what is left of Shuhu with his existence, chasing after the death he will never achieve. But on the bright side, this makes him a supplicant, which buffs his ability to create weapons due to his talent of being a bladesmith. Also, quick note of speculation here, Blade doesn't actually want to die. If he wanted to truly die, he could just throw himself into a star, as the Xianzhou Juming does with abominations of the abundance that they can't kill. Ling Sha says this.
On the Xianzhou Juming, the judges cast those unforgivable and nearly immortal abominations of abundance into the eternal flames of the stars, reducing them to ashes. Their so-called immortality is just a facade. I mean, nothing can truly defy death, can it?
And of course, Blade is entirely aware of this due to the fact that he grew up on the Juming. So in my most honest opinion, Blade doesn't actually want to die, he just wants to be free from Shuhu's torment, which he actually has a chance to get relief from if we get rid of the part of Shuhu that is causing Blade to be Mara-struck. Because again, Blade is a short life species, he's not even supposed to be capable of being Mara-struck in the first place, so getting rid of Shuhu for the most part, this might just be incredible for him. He might only have trauma to deal with, not chronic bouts of insanity, which makes him just like everyone else in the cast, which is again a net positive for Blade. Better days may just be ahead for this guy. But of course, this is all speculation, drawing from everything we currently know, because this is the secrets of Morton X Blade revealed. The live stream is coming up soon, and I can't wait to see what is actually going on here. There is a lot going on, to be honest, and we can't forget about the demon lord that is currently trying to kill us all. He has a lot of win conditions, and all of them are hanging over us like a blade. See what I did there? I can't really tell what Blade's new form will bring. Odds are he has more abilities that I'm not familiar with other than creating unlimited blade works, which only makes me more apprehensive because if we learned anything from Iron Tomb, the more stacked our team is, the more dangerous the enemy will be. I am shook. What do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, y'all.